Coralium iriat, et fructus spiritus produci.
While the world slept. You don't become who you're destined to be when the lights are on and the crowd is watching. You don't find your power in applause or approval. No. You become that person in the dark, in the quiet, in the unseen hours when the rest of the world is asleep. That's where the real you is forged. I remember being a child, lying in bed while the world outside slipped into silence. I wasn't tired like they said I should be. My body was still. But my spirit? It was wide awake. I could feel something tugging on me, something calling. It wasn't rebellion. It was curiosity, purpose, destiny whispering. While others slept, I listened. I listened to the creaks in the floors, the wind rustling through the trees, the silence between every heartbeat. Everything in me believed. Life didn't stop because it got dark. In fact, I believed that's when life truly began. What if the breakthrough I was meant to find drifted past while I slept? What if the idea that could change my life came floating through the midnight sky? What if my purpose only came alive when the world was no longer looking? So I stayed awake, eyes open, heart racing, soul reaching. Even as kids, we know, some people close their eyes to dream. But some of us, we dream with our eyes wide open. And that kind of dream doesn't live in fairy tales. It lives in fire. It lives in the fight. But then something happens. We grow up. The world teaches us to trade magic for monotony, to swap imagination for instruction, to stop chasing wonder and start chasing approval. They hand us a rule book and call it wisdom. They say, "This is how it's done," and expect us to obey. You go from being the dreamer to becoming a follower. And so we start to sleep, not at night, but through life. We fall asleep in routines that numb us. We fall asleep in relationships that drain us. We fall asleep in jobs that rob us of who we are. We exchange adventure for security, purpose for paychecks, dreams for distractions. We mistake comfort for meaning. And just like that, we forget how to stay awake. But I couldn't. Something in me refused to die. I couldn't pretend anymore. I couldn't go on living someone else's version of success. I couldn't silence the voice that said, "There's more. There's always more." So I did something crazy. I walked away. Not because I was confused, but because I was finally clear. I locked myself in a room with silence, notebooks, a laptop, and this unshakable hope. I wrote. I rewrote. I bled words onto pages. I failed. I tore everything down and built it up again. Not for praise, not for recognition, but because I had a fire in my soul that would not go out. While the world slept, I stayed awake. People told me to settle. They said, "Just follow the rules, be realistic, make peace with average." But I was busy making war with mediocrity. Every sleepless night was a declaration. I will not live small. I will not conform. I will not numb myself to make others comfortable. And here's the truth. Most never tell you. Growth isn't a one-time event. It's not a single mountaintop moment. Growth comes in waves, in storms, in seasons. Sometimes it's bold and blazing like summer, full of passion and clarity. But sometimes it's winter, cold, dark, empty. And it's in those barren seasons, when progress vanishes, when identity slips through your fingers, that your true character is tested. I've been there. I've stood on mountaintops feeling invincible. And I've curled up in the valley, wondering if I had anything left to give. But this life, this wild, unpredictable, messy life, it's not about staying the same. It's about being broken and rebuilt. It's about becoming stronger because of the struggle. It's about learning from failure and letting it make you wiser. And most people, when winter comes, they go back to sleep. They retreat. They hope the storm passes and life magically sorts itself out. But I made a promise. I promised I would never again outsource my future to fate. I would not sleepwalk through another season hoping to be rescued. So I picked up the pen. I reignited the flame. I started the process all over again, and again, and again. Because greatness isn't found in easy choices. It's found in the daily decision to show up when no one's watching, to keep going when everything in you wants to quit, to stay awake while the world sleeps. You want to change your life? Then you've got to stop waiting to be chosen. Stop waiting for applause. Stop waiting for things to be perfect. Start now, in the dark, in the quiet, in the invisible. That's where greatness begins. That's where you begin. Embrace the difficult. Let me tell you something we've misunderstood for far too long. The word difficult is not your enemy. It's your secret weapon. When people ask, how hard is it going to be? What they're really asking is, will it cost me too much? They're not asking about possibility. They're asking about price. But here's the truth you need to swallow. And fast. If you want something bad enough, difficult becomes irrelevant. Because difficult doesn't mean impossible. Difficult just means rare. Difficult means most people won't. But you will. And that alone makes you different. We've grown up in a world that treats hard like a warning label. But I'm telling you right now, if it's hard, lean in. Press deeper. Push harder. Because difficult is the filter. It's the line in the sand. It's the test that reveals whether you're serious or just curious. Most people, they run from hard things. They retreat at the first sign of friction. They shrink when resistance shows up. But not you. You are not most people. And if you're going to build something great, something meaningful, you have to see difficulty not as a barrier, but as a doorway. You know what greatness actually is? It's doing the simple things no one else is willing to do. Consistently, relentlessly, obsessively. It's waking up early when you want to sleep in. It's training while others are relaxing. It's studying while others scroll. It's saying no to average, because yes to your purpose matters more. There's nothing mystical about greatness. It's not some divine gift handed to a chosen few. It's grit, it's resilience, it's discipline, it's hunger. And let's get real about something. The majority of people, not because they're bad, but because they're comfortable, will live and die inside the limits of average. That's just math. It's why we call it average. Most people live there. But here's where you separate yourself. You decide that average is not your address. You weren't born to blend in. You were born to break through. And yes, that path is narrow. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But that's the price for a life that matters. You don't get a breakthrough without breaking something. You don't find purpose without pain. You don't get the crown without the cross. So stop asking, will it be hard? And start asking, is it worth it? And if the answer is yes, you go all in. You sacrifice your comfort, your excuses, your distractions, everything that keeps you numb and asleep, and you rise. Because here's the real truth. No one wants to say out loud. The only reason most people won't get where they want to go is because they aren't willing to do what it takes to get there. Not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, because they say no to hard work. They say no to discomfort. They say no to doing what others won't. But you've already decided. You are willing to do the hard things. You are willing to show up when it's boring, when it's thankless, when it hurts. You are willing to stretch when others shrink, to climb when others coast, to believe when everyone else doubts. That's the price of greatness. And it is worth every single drop of sweat, every sleepless night.